I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a man. Do you understand? Half of my life is unplanned. Most of the time, I don't know. How's everybody doing? Husband, father, man in the house with a few tips that'll help you get through all of these things that are going on. I know some of us are at home, we're having cabin fever. It's hard for us to be socially isolated, especially when you have kids bouncing off the wall. So I understand. Amen, brothers and sisters. I hear you out there moaning right now, but just stick with me so we can get through this video. So I have 3 things that you can do that will help you get through this time and cut down on your stress, cut down on confusion, and just, provide that needed structure, especially at this time. So, the number 1 thing I encourage you to do is put together a list of things to do. And when I say put together a list of things to do, I'm talking about covering different categories. So your children will always have things to do. So you will have things to do with your spouse, things you can do as a family. Just cover your day, because before now, most of our day was covered because our children were at school during the day, wouldn't get home to maybe 3, 4, 5 in the evening, depending on if they played after school sports and different things like that. And usually most of us will be at work. And so we only had to contend with the evening hours where we would make sure homework was done, make sure they get dinner and showers and get to bed at a decent hour. So it was pretty much easy to go through that because our time kind of was dictated by the schedule we were going by then. But now we have to make a new schedule that incorporates all day, the early part of the day on into the evening. And so I encourage you, put together things to where they have things that are fun, game time, TV time. Make sure they get exercise, outdoor time. Make sure they get some reading time. Just things that they may watch that are educational. So just come up with just different categories of things they can do to make sure that they are still not just sitting idle and watching TV and playing games all day, but making sure they are still using their brains. They're doing their schoolwork. Have a scheduled time for lunch and breakfast and just all those things. You just put a list of things together, and then once you put your list together, you go to step 2. Number 2 is put a schedule together. So once you make this list of different things that can be done, then you put a schedule together. So you lay your schedule out, and then you just plug in the times that this is going to be going on, the times they will be doing schoolwork, the times they will be doing lunch. Then you put in the times they will go outside, the times they will exercise, the time they will read, the time you will have family time together and things like that. And just schedule it. So whenever your kids come up talking about they're bored and all these other things, you can just look at the schedule and say, well, you don't have time to be bored right now. It's time for you to be reading. You don't have time to be bored right now because you're still supposed to be doing your schoolwork, aren't you? You don't have time to be bored. It's outside time, so go ahead outside and get you some fun and running around in. And so if you have the schedule, it's nothing to argue about. You just have it scheduled. You look at them, they look at you, and you say, hey, what time is it? And you take care of what's on the schedule. I encourage you also, make sure you schedule in family time in the evening. We have different themes going on from day to day to where we may play board games. We may watch a movie, a family movie night. We might have an evening where we might go bike riding. We might have an evening where we do karaoke, but we have different things going on each evening to make sure we already know this is that family quality time we're going to get together. And so you just come up with 3 or 4 things, and then you just kind of rotate them, or you just try to come up with a different theme for each day. But With a schedule, it keeps everybody in a place to where they know that this is on the schedule, and it could be something they're looking forward to at that time on the schedule. And so it's very important to have that schedule in place. And so this brings us to number 3, which is be consistent. You have to be consistent with the schedule if you want to keep down the stress and keep up the structure. So remember that you want to keep the stress down, you want to keep the structure up, because the more structure you have, the less stress you will have. And so you have to be consistent. You can't set it up and then say, hey, this is what's supposed to be done at that time, and have your kids say, well, no, I want to move game time to this time and outdoors to that time and school time. No. We're not negotiating here. This is the schedule that we put in place, and you have to adapt to the schedule and make sure that, hey, when it's time to do this, this is what you're doing. Because if you're not consistent, they will undermine your schedule, and they'll put all of their fun things, at the end, or push out or put all the fun things at the beginning, and then when it comes time to do the other thing, oh, I'm sick, I'm tired, and all of these other things. So you want to be consistent with whatever schedule you put in place. And I'm telling you, I know from experience, this will keep things done decent and in order, and you all will be able to go through this time we're going through right now and be able to create something new, and just be able to keep everybody on one page. I think that's very important right now. So once again, let's recap that list. So number 1 is make a list of things to do so you can make sure you have all areas covered. Some fun things, some educational things, some family things, and etc., to make sure you have a list of things to keep everybody busy and keep everybody together. Number 2 is take that list you made and make a schedule. You have to have a schedule to make sure that everybody has a sense of this is what our normal day looks like, and that we do this at this time, we do that at that time, and then so on and so forth, and this is just how it is, and everybody knows what to expect from day to day. And number 3 is make sure you are consistent with your schedule. If you're not consistent, then that will continue to bring you stress, and there will be no structure because everything will be all this way. But if you have a schedule, it just goes just like that and flows, and everything stays decent and in order. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you take the time to go through these 3 steps. I encourage you to do it, and I'm telling you, it will make life a lot more laid back and fun, and everything will just flow together as we just continue to go through this difficult time right now. This is a time to truly bring our families closer together. So I will see you next time on Husband, Father, Man.
I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a man. Do you understand? Half of my life is unplanned. Most of the time I don't